So dear friends, let us sit upright, relax, sit beautifully, but relax. We have nothing to do, nowhere to go. This is a moment just to sit, just to enjoy, and just to be. As we listen to the three sounds of the bell, bring the mind back to the body, anchor the breath, and really enjoy the three breath as we listen to the three sounds of the bell. Dear respected teacher, dear Sister Chang Khang, Sister Chang Đức, brothers and sisters, as well as the Noble Sangha. Today is the 24th of March in the year 2024. We are in the full moon meditation hall of New Hamlet, Plum village. And this is a happy moment. And I was informed this week there are so many friends who are here with us. Upper Hamlet, Lower Hamlet, and New Hamlet. And among those new friends who just arrived this week, quite a number of you are new to the practice. And we are very grateful for the fact that you take the time, the effort to come to practice with us, whether 1 week or more. So hopefully after you are staying up 1 week or more with us, you will gain something out of your stay. And I sit up here and look down, and it's so beautiful down there. Especially see so many familiar faces, and personally I feel very supported by my elder sisters and brother who are sitting down there supporting me up here. That is Sister Chang Khang, Chang Đức, Sister Đức Nhi, Mother Pháp Phu, and so on. And I feel nourished and support and calm enough to be sharing with you this morning. And sitting up here looking down, you reminded me the time that I first came to Plum Village. I sit down there just like you, almost 20 years ago. And I have to be honest. First time I came to Plum Village, I was very stressful. myself. I came to recharge. I came to find balance. More importantly, at the end of the week of my staying, that's when I knew, what I was missing was a spiritual dimension. And after 1 week, I realized a lot of things. We are living in a world that it has evolved. It becomes so global. It's what we call, or what we know is a globalization. When the world becomes more global, things become more competitive. Two are of professions. And when things become more competitive, stress, pressure, and so on continue to rise. And today, what I would like to share with you, how I started my journey to Plum. As I shared earlier, one of the big reason that brought me to the village was stress. And it was very difficult for me to handle at the time. And back then, when I was so stressful, I did not know what to do. I often just took time off, vacation, holiday, to go here and there. But when we take a vacation, we take holiday, we go here and there. Just we think that we're going to go to relax. But are we really able? Do we have the capacity to relax? When we're on holidays, we have a tendency to go visit many places. So we run one place after another place. And at the end of the trip, we even become more exhausted, more tired. So back then I decided, this time instead of going to somewhere else, I'm going to Plum for 1 week to see how it goes. So I will share you my journey, how I cope with my stress, how I transform my stress from a person who was very agitated, very restless, due to the work, the environment that I was in, to become who I am today. So my shares today, based on the Plum teaching, all of the basic practices that help me to cope with my stress, my anxiety, and my strong emotions. So anything that is shared with you today is based on my personal practice, but of course it's according to the Plum teaching. So the topic for today is how to handle stress. I have a very soft voice. So if I sit up there and I talk, you're going to fall asleep. And especially today, it's a little chilly. Listen to the soft and gentle voice, easy to fall asleep. So I like to ask for excuse to get up, to get engaged with your conversation. So this today is basically just a share. So please support me, work with me. One of the things that I found through my journey of practice transforming my stress, anxiety, is that I noticed that when I was at work or when I was leaving as a late, one of the causes that cause stress is the delay. I have a tendency to delay. And I think this is, if I remember, I trace it as far as back, maybe when I was in college. You know, when the homework is due, or when there's a deadline coming, always delaying, waiting to the last minute. Maybe I give myself 1 week, 2 weeks, until then, and I will do it. And by the time I get very close to the deadline, that's what happened. I run, looking for idea for thoughts, writing, and that is how I cause stress to myself. And as a human, that I see that we do have a tendency to delay, and that delay is based on procrastination. There are so many factors or reasons as to why we get stressed. There are stress that are caused by others, and that is something I won't talk so much about today. That is something that you and I know very clear. And there's a lot of things, information available online that you can actually research or ask Mr. Google. I can only share with you from my personal practice what caused me to be stressful. And as for me, the last sharing that I had in Hamlet, I'm a very practical person. I only work and concern something that within my hand, within my reach. If something is outside of my reach, then I wouldn't be worried so much about it. If it's within my reach, then I work on that. As today, I look back, what were the things that caused stress to me? What were the things that I would be able to work with it, to heal it, to transform it? These are the reasons that I see in myself. Second is the being late. You used to have the tendency. Coming late to the meeting, coming late to gathering, here and there. When we're late, what do? We rush ourselves. We run to ourselves. And when we rush, yes, we unintentionally, we push stress on ourselves. Isn't it right? That is why when I train the novices or the aspirants in Thai Plum village, if you late, just aware that you are late. Don't have to run, you don't have to rush. Because when you rush, you run to the class. When you arrive, first thing, the energy of your rushing, you bring it to the class. That will affect others. And with the energy of stress and running, you come in the class, it's going to take you a while to come down. So might as well walking out, I'm aware that I'm late. Okay, I take slowly, enjoy. Whether or not you late anyway. Whether you late 5 minutes or you late 10 minutes, you late. Okay? So if you late 10 minutes, but you come to the class with a very peaceful energy, relaxed energy. But if you keep running, then you unintentionally keep add on the stress to yourself. Third, the version that I talk about is the perfection. Perfection. Perfection, this is something that sometimes that we're not aware. We just want things to be perfect as the way we want it to be. As I shared earlier, sometimes the people want things to be done the way that they want. That's out of your hand. But if you want to be controlled, you're perfect is the way you say, this is within your hand. There's sometimes that we're not aware of this. So life sometimes is very irony. The irony is that you're more aware of what people are doing than you are aware of yourself. Okay? For example, you say, hey, you have a perfection. You want things to be done this way. You want me to do this and that. Therefore, you want me to run. You want to work. And we often react to it and we blame. Oh, you caused the stress to me. But you know, people will have 1,000 of excuses. Especially you work with high hierarchies. They want things to be done the way that they want. They want when the projects to be done. There's deadlines. But stress can only become real is only when you allow that to happen. I have a twin nieces who graduated from medical school a few years ago. I said, you know, as a brand new graduate med student, the new jobs that are going to be picked up is going to give you a lot of stress because they expect a lot of hours from you. But I don't know how they negotiate it. After they graduated, they negotiate. I only work from Monday to Friday. 40-hour maximum that I put in. No overtime. Whatever you pay. And they got it. A few months ago, one of my elder nieces, uncle, they call me Uncle Thai. I'm about to get promoted to a team leader. And I'm debating whether or not I should accept the promotion. I didn't say anything. I just asked them that question. What holding you back? Do you need the money? He said, no. I don't need the money. Do you want to be a leader? Say no. I said, there we go. You have to answer. You don't need the money. You don't want to be known. You don't want to be recognized. Do you know what you want? I said, yeah. I'm still young, so I like to have more time. The rest to play. I was like, wow, that's good for you. Promotion means you uncle at this moment. Promotion means they want more time of yours. So if you want to compromise times, then you endure more stress. But anyway, so that is something that outside. So whether or not you take it is totally up to you. Totally up to you. Now coming back to perfection. There's some perfection. We want things to be the way how things to be done in ourselves. And sometimes we are unintentionally again, we impose the stress, the pressure on ourselves. As for me as a monk now, the monasteries, I try my best to do things based on my ability, my capacity, to the best as I can. But if something else is out of my limit, my control, then I learn how to let go. Because I know that when I try to be perfect, then I also unintentionally impose that perfection onto my siblings, my brother and sister. And perfection itself, it can cause a lot of stress to oneself. And this is a lot of time we're not aware of this. That's what go in line with the perfection is the tendency of wanting to control to command everything. You want to, if you're a corporate leader, a team leader, finger pointing, you want things the way it should be. Also can cause some stress to oneself as well. We can go into that in a moment. Last but not least, that I see that actually what made me so stressful was I worried a lot. I used to work in a very fast-paced environment, and it was very hectic. Minutes ticking is time is ticking. Money is ticking. If you're in a corporate world, time is money. When the clock is ticking, money is also ticking. And it causes a lot of fear, anxiety, and worry. And as a monk, as monastic now, we have learned when we live through the practice, we see that time is not just money. Time is more than money. Time is life. Time is gift. So when we worry, there are certain things that we can worry, but to a minimum level. Worry sometimes is good for you. Because sometimes if we worry, it gives us the motivation. A motivation. But over worried can cause a lot of stress. And as we know, all of these reasons, and many, many other reasons, stress can lead to a lot of illnesses. Nowadays, a lot of people get stroke. And stroke not only happen to old people, but also nowadays happen to young people as well. And stress is a big factor. So today what we do is we will learn how the mindfulness practice can help us to cope with our strong emotion, anxiety, fear, anger, despair. And in this particular case is the stress. So that is the background, a little bit about stress causes. And as we see that all the things that I list up here, delaying, being late, rushing, perfection, wanting to control and command everything, and over worry. What is actually behind of these causes? What behind these causes is the habit energy. You see the puppet here. The puppet is being pulled by the strings. And the person behind pulling string is controlling the movement of the puppets. It's the same way. The way that how we think, the way that how we talk, the way how we act, we do things is actually being manipulated, being controlled by our habit energy. Habit energy, habit is the way that how you do things, you think, you act, you speak in the automatic mode, unconsciously. And to some point, that's become involuntary action, and it becomes a habit. So the habit, the tendency behind, that actually cause us to do all of these things. And they create that's the new road path. So with the practice of mindfulness, what we will do is we will create the new neural path. The first reason that I learned about how to really to take care of my stress, to calm my body, is through the practice of stopping, samatha. In the meditation arena of Buddhist teaching, the first practice of meditation is the samatha. Samatha means stopping. In this case, we ask, stop what? Stop the thinking. Sometimes that we just can't stop. We think, we worry a lot. We run, we chase after happiness and so on. And if we don't have the capacity to sit still, to be able to reflect. So it is very important for us just to stay still, to stop the mind from thinking, from running. The last couple of days for those who just arrived, every meal that you observe that before you eat, sisters or brothers always read the Five Contemplation. And we are invited, before we contemplate, before we eat, we turn off the NSD radio station. Stop the thinking so that we can actually be fully with the food. If we're not able to turn it off, then what we eat, what we consume, the thoughts, the thinking. In this case, it might be the worry, the stress, and so on. As to be able to stop, we need to learn how to anchor the breath. How to anchor the breath. When you anchor the breath becomes the object of your mind. This morning we were instructed by Sister Lin during the guided meditation. Breathing in, I'm aware. This is an in-breath. Breathing out, I'm more aware. This is an out-breath. We clearly distinct, this is an in-breath, this is an out-breath. The next step is breathing in, I follow my in-breath from beginning all the way to the end. When we follow from beginning all the way to the end, that means at that moment, that breath becomes the object of our mind. We need something to anchor. If we don't anchor something, the mind will take off. The mind is just like a monkey. It will jump from branch to another branch. And the best object that we can practice with is our breath. Because our breath is always there with us. No matter where we are, anytime, anywhere, we can play with it. So, to be able to stop, we have to learn how to anchor the breath. So the first two exercises of the 16 exercises of the mindful breathing is very crucial to enter the practice of meditation. And the first gate is to learn to stop. We will go through the process, how you will learn how to recognize our feelings, our emotions, and so on. I came from a very interesting background. I used to work in the financial field. And in this financial field, there's an order, it's called stop order. Stop order, it means that you only allow what is allowed that you can take it to that level. If it's above that level, then you will not, you stop. Practically, in the investment market, stock market, there's an order called stop order or stop limit order. It means that, okay, I buy this particular security, this stock, for $30. And I'm willing to lose maximum is $10. So therefore, I will put the stop orders at $20. If it get down to $20, then sell it for me. I don't want to lose much more than that. And if we don't put the stop order, then if it keep going down, then we keep losing money. So that is how people put in that particular kind of order. So with that kind of background, I come into the meditation practice. I also allow to give myself some cushion. If I suffer, I allow myself to suffer at a certain time. If I worried, I allow myself to suffer a certain time to that limit. In other words, just like when we go on the street, you see the street light, what's the yellow light means? So try to slow down, stop at the yellow light, don't wait until the red starts. Blue light, go on. Yellow light, okay, learn to slow down. Stop. And when the red light on, then you're ready. Don't wait until the red light. In the practice of stopping, it's the same way. If we come from an environment that where we have a lot of stress, we have a lot of suffering, we're being traumatized, allow ourselves to suffer to a certain extent. There's a lot of help out there. Don't just sit there and do it and be the victim of it. And in this case, I'm so grateful and I'm so happy that actually you came to Plum Village to actually take care of yourself. And that's what I did. Sometimes we don't have the capacity to stop, to change. We just sit there and we just let the suffering to lullaby us. Or just we sit there and we just be a victim of it. In this case, our teacher has recommended change the environment. Go do something else different. Don't just sit there and stuck with the suffering, stuck with the stress. And what we learned is that when we get so overwhelmed by stress, by fear, and so on, we go for a walk. We can talk a little bit later how the steps can re-establish ourselves, bring us back to the present moment. Having taken a walk, just even you taking a walk in the park, in nature itself, it can be very healing. By the way, there are so many perfectionists out there that actually can bring a lot of stress and anxiety. You think that become monks and nuns, monastic, stress-free? My monastic brother and sister are laughing. In this environment, stress can be reduced substantially, but there are still stress. If we're not skillful enough in our practice, if we're not skillful enough to recognize our habit energy. In the monastery, the stress, as I shared earlier, that can be caused most of the time by ourselves. All of the causes, like I shared earlier. But another cause of that, organizing. Monastic, which is like can say is another profession of service. And in the service, we're not skillful enough, we also have stress. But our stress is based on intention, with intention. Try to create the environment, organize more retreat, more events, so that people can come and learn and practice and can heal and transform themselves. So we bring benefits to others. But however, if our practice is not solid enough, we can also be fooled by a habit energy, or overwhelmed by a habit energy, and we continue to have stress ourselves. So having said that, stress is a part of life. For me, I learned a minimal stress, a minimal pressure, sometimes is necessary in life. Why so? Little pressure. If you know pressure time life is so perfect, everything is good, sometimes it's difficult for us to get the motivation. But little pressure, peer pressure, family pressure, school pressure can trigger the motivation. And each one of us do need a kind of motivation. If no motivation, then we might be easily fall into the trap of procrastination. But we need to know our limit. How much we need. Chanting the channel is sometimes it can be very nourishing if we know how to get in touch with nature. We are very lucky that we are in the environment where it's so beautiful, especially this time of year. You see the flowers, blooms everywhere. Part of my work is that every hour or two, I will need to take a break. I go for a walk. Go play with the flowers. Sometimes I just, it's like a baby playing with the flower, talking to flowers. It can be very nourishing and healing. And sometimes we like to listen to relaxing music when we feel a little overwhelmed. Meditation music, mindfulness songs can help us to actually relaxing us as well. Last but not least, what I learned how to change the channel is to nourish myself with a positive feeling. Instead of being stuck with this particular work that actually causing me stress or dealing with something that caused me more anxiety, I think I take a break. I think of something that's more positive. Think of the moments that I was doing something that actually nourished me. And that actually can help me to balance out. Before we go on, let us listen to one sound at the bell. Stopping is the first function of meditation. After we learn how to stop, then we move to the next step, which is the second function of meditation. It's called calming. How do we calm? First thing, we need to learn how to recognize what is happening. Happening in the body, happening in the mind. But for now, I would like to share with you how to recognize the body. In order to distress ourselves, first thing we need to have to learn how to relax the body. In meditation, the four establishments of mindfulness or for the 16 exercises of mindful breathing, always begin with the breathing. Breath is part of the body. The body, the first 4 exercises talking about the body. The 4 establishment of mindfulness. Aware of the body in the body. Second, aware of the feeling, and so on. Why do we all have to begin with the body? Because the body is something that you can touch, you can feel. So therefore it's easier to practice to begin with. The body where you can get in touch, you can cultivate the energy of mindfulness and concentration easier. Feelings is that. Feeling is more subtle. In order to be able to recognize feelings, it requires more mindfulness. So that is why all the teaching begin with the body. You need to learn how to distress yourself, relax yourself with the body first. Something you can feel, you can grasp right away. So coming back, recognizing there's tension, there's something going on in my body. When you feel stress, where do you feel the tension? I often feel the tension in the back of my shoulder, especially when I sit in front of the computer for too long. When I'm overwhelmed by something, I feel my heart beating. These are the signs from the body is signaling, sending to us. And if we're mindful enough, we're able to recognize that. And as soon as we recognize that, that's the first success in meditation, is to be able to recognize what is happening. Because if we don't recognize, then what happens? We've been taken away. When we recognize, breathing in, I'm aware of stress. There's stress. Breathing out, I smile. Last Thursday we have learned in Plum tradition, smiling is a practice. Practice is recognizing, there is something going on in my body, in my mind. I smile just to recognize what is happening. So smiling is a recognition, is aware. After we are aware what is going on in our body, in our mind, then we learn how to accept. I'm having stress. Accepting is very crucial. So if we don't accept, what is the opposite of accepting? Is denying. Sometimes we in deny that why do I have to worry? Why do I have to be angry? Why do I have to be stressful? By matter of fact, we are in that boat, but we are in denial. So accepting is allow us an opportunity to find a way to heal. Breathing in, I know stress is here. Breathing out, I know it is not me. Stress is just stress. Stress is just a feeling. It's just a state of mind. But that's not who we are. We're more than above and beyond that. If we don't recognize that, we're not aware of that, then we'll be in one with the stress, with that strong emotion. Therefore, we're being full away, being overwhelmed by that. Third, if we learn how to embrace it. I'm accepting now that I have this stress, this anxiety, this anger, whatever it is that's happening in my mind or my body, then I learn how to embrace it. Let's come back to the island within ourselves and take care of it. Breathing in, I embrace this unpleasant feeling. Breathing out, I know this feeling will pass. Feeling comes, feeling goes. Nothing stays. That's the law of impermanence. The same way with stress. We need to have trust in that. Stay with the practice, and it will go away. I shared this with our young friends a while back. And one of the young friends says, if you don't do anything, will the stress go away? Will your strong emotion will go away? Very good question. Because I asked advice, which will go in a moment later, that when we have the capacity to come back to the moment, to embrace it, we don't intervene to interfere, just basically be present, acknowledging it's there, and embrace it with the tenderness, the kindness, the love, with that feeling. And according to the teaching and our practice, sometimes you don't have to do anything. You just need to, all you need to do is just the awareness, mindful of your breath, anchor your breath. Then things will slowly will subside naturally. And if we keep to do that, then it will become something very natural. At first, there might be some effort of putting into practice with it. But as we're getting used to it, then it becomes something very natural. Last but not least, part of the second function of that calming. Now you embrace it, now you need to calm down. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I release the tensions of my body. I know because I have stress, and this stress creates tensions in my body. The first thing that I know that I should do is to release all of these tensions. When you come to Plum Village, if you have not experienced the practice of total relaxation in the last couple of days, then you will in the next couple of days or so. Total relaxation is a wonderful way just to be able to lay down, to relax, and to release the tensions in the body. In order to be able to do all of these, to be able to recognize, to be able to accept, to embrace, and to calm, we need to have the practice. And that practice is mindfulness. Without mindfulness, there is no way that we are able to do all of these. That is why when you come to Plum Village, the practice is very simple. Everything we do, we eat, we walk, we sit, we do everything in mindfulness. Mindfulness means awareness. To be able to know what is going on, what is happening in the here, in the now, inside the body, outside the body. And what kind of the energy, we won't be able to do all of it. So the basic practices that we do is build up the energy of mindfulness bit by bit every day. You might ask a question. I come to Plum Village with a lot of suffering, with a lot of anxiety. This practice is wonderful. Provide me a map. It's a great formula. But how do I do that for myself? When I'm so overwhelmed by this emotion. Good news is that you are in the community where you can benefit from collective energy. Our teacher often says, when our mindfulness energy is weak, we can actually borrow. We can benefit from collective. When we're so overwhelmed, you see the people around us eating, walking, eating are so peaceful. Also help us to calm down. So now that we learned the basic formula, how to stop, how to calm those that are too. What I like to say is that the best formula that you can use in all kind of situation in meditation, whether we are dealing with anxiety, with stress, with fear, with anger, with violence, we can use that formula to apply. But now having that formula to work with, to practice with, what are the things that I need to be more aware of, to pay attention to, in order for me to basically more to balance myself. The practice of mindfulness, it helps to be more present. Being present is a wonderful thing. Often that we've been dragged by the past or carried away by the future, so we lost ourselves in the present moment. Sometimes we really sit there to be present for our loved ones. Physically we're there, but the mind is not there. That kind of present is not what we call premium present. But if your mind is really there with your body, you're really there at that moment, that is what we call mindfulness, enhance the quality of being present. You're truly there for life. You're truly there for your loved one. And being present, you're being safeguarded. And in the Zen tradition, we learn that the Yen circle, especially in our tradition, you see that our teacher, Thai, he wrote a lot of calligraphy. And most of them has the Zen circle. The Zen circle has a lot of meaning. But the meaning that I would like to share with you today, the circle here in this case represents the present. If we stay inside the circle, which is the present, then we are safe. What does it mean? If you stay out of the circle, mean that you are being carried by the past. You've been haunted by the past. If you're chasing something in the future, you worry about what is happening in the future, then you are outside of the box. You're outside the moment, then you are safe. As long as you come back to the moment you stay in here, then you're not being caretaken away by the past or the worry. So that is why in our Zen tradition, be safe is to stay in the present moment. Anyone here who watched the movie, very well-known Chinese movie called Journey to the West? Yeah? Most Asian nodded. In the just for you don't know if the background of the movie Journey to the West, it has 4 main characters in there. There's a monk, master. There's a monkey. There's a pig, and the other one is Satan. there's another character, and his form, his appearance is very interesting as well. And these 3 supporting the monk to go to the west to receive the sutra, the teaching from the Buddha. And through that journey, the monkey is the one who has the superpower, magic power, who can save the whole group a lot of trouble. And most of the time, the monkey asks the master, when I go look for food, you'll be safe to stay in the circle. He draw the circle. the circle with the magic power. If you stay in here, devil cannot touch you. Whatever you listen, whatever they call for, don't chase after that. Just stay in the circle. But a lot of time, the master didn't listen to the monkey. As when he listens to the cry for help, he go outside the circle and help them. So when he goes outside the circle and help them, devil take him away. So in this case, it's exactly the same with our practice. Stay in the moment, then you'll be safe. Every time we experience difficulty by strong emotion, stress, fear, just come back to the breath. Come back to this moment, present moment, wonderful moment. When you come back to the present moment, then you'll be able to get in touch. When we really truly in the present moment, we can get in touch with so many wonders of life available to us. You see this time of year, so many beautiful flowers. If we're overwhelmed by stress, by the suffering, then we're not really there to get in touch with it. In the Plum village, a very, very well-known phrase that I have arrived. I am home. You arrive in the here and the now. And only when we're present in the here, then we can actually touch the now, or vice versa. I have arrived in this very moment. When we are fully in this moment, then we actually can touch what is available here. If we're not here, our mind's not here at this moment, now, at this moment, we're carried by the past, we cannot touch the wonders, what is available to us. And that doesn't include our loved ones. My practice is that in order for me to balance my energy, that I learn how to relax whenever, wherever I can. Believe it or not, the first time when I came to Plum Village after ordained, I thought of being a monk. Either you just sit and meditate, or you do some gardening work. So what I did was I asked the work coordinator after ordained 2 days. I asked him, can I work in the garden to take care of the vegetable garden? This is what he did. He said, let me see your hand. So I was very innocent. He asked, so I gave him my hand, and he turned back and forth. He looked, and he touched. Your hand is very soft. You don't belong to the garden. You belong to the office. I feel hurt. And I worked with that. That took me for a while. But being monk and nuns, we have a lot of work. This is engaged Buddhism, which is not sit there and meditate all day long. Everything we do, whether we work, we sit, we cook, we whatever, is the practice for us. Be with the present moment. Bring the mind to whatever you do. That is meditation for us. And when we're not skillful enough, we're not mindful enough, then could easily be entrapped by project, by work, by fear, by worries, and so on. And yes, sometimes we unintentionally, we impose stress on ourselves. So the practice is very crucial, is to learn how to relax whenever, wherever is possible. And how do we do that? The third exercise is that breathing in, I'm aware of my whole body. Breathing out, I smile to my body. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I release tensions in my body. As we learned. In the theory or the cognitive context, this is very clear. But how do we apply it in our daily life? How do we use this breath in order for us to relax whenever, wherever is possible. Relaxation is very important. You know, I used to work a lot when I was late. There were days that I came home late, and I bear with me a lot of tension in my shoulder, and I did not know how to relax. There were days that I came back home, my head is still spinning. Headache, worries about what's next tomorrow, what I will be doing tomorrow. There are some culture even believe that resting, relaxation is not productive. That might be a sign of laziness. But we learn, if you work so much, you endure so much stress and tension, you will know, experience how you feel physically and emotionally. In my case, I discover, or as monks sometimes we discover, resting is just the opposite side of working. Working, labor requires resting. It's just two sides of a coin. If we keep working without resting, at some point, and as we know, the body has its own limit. The mind has its own limit. At some point, we get burned out. At some point, we get collapsed. So the practice of resting is very crucial. Relaxing. I learned that when I relax, I rest, I give an opportunity to my body to recharge, to renew. And I need that renew, that recharge, to have more space in myself. And I see that when I have space from within, then I have more space from outside. And when I rest well, then what happens? Then my mind can become more creative. If we keep working without resting, then it's very easy for us to end up in fatigue or burnout, as I said. Life is sometimes very crucial to do planning. And our teacher, according to Plum teaching, our teacher says this very clearly. We can plan. We have to work. Very practical. But we plan in the present moment. Plan in such a way that we won't be carried by the future or by the past. We stay in the moment. And when we do our best to carry out the planning. However, here's the catch. We don't lose ourselves in the planning. If we keep chasing the planning, and everything has to do accordingly to the planning, and this is in line with part of the perfection, we will lose an opportunity to live what is offering, what we call an unexpected opportunity. So relaxing is very, very important. And one way to learn is to relax, is to do things in moderation, in activity. There's a number of things that you can do a day within that period, and stick with that. Don't so harsh on ourselves. We need to learn how to keep balance between work and life. Life is not just about work. There's so many, many things. Work is just one aspect of life. Secondly, is how to use the time appropriately. What it means is that most of us, we think that, if I put in 8 hours or 10 hours in this work, then I can get much more out of it. Do you think it's true? 8 hours, 10 hours of the work, unmindful work, unfocused work, cannot be compared to 5 hours, 6 hours of mindful work. Sometimes that we get so caught up with the productivity and we forget about the quality. This case, not just only the quality of the product itself, but the quality of life. So sometimes quality is more important. Put it in the work 3 hours, 5 hours with mindful work can make the product, make life even more worth it and more quality. When I learned how to relax, to rest, what it is here is about time management. You are from, if not all, most of us, we live outside, we work outside in the corporate world. We learn about time management. How we manage our time. Prioritize what is the most important. Do that first. Or within that list to do. It's about time management. Last week I shared, last Thursday, I shared with you about a story that one of my favorite stories that I learned a lot when I was in college. Please allow me to share this story again with our new friends today with a different aim. Last Thursday I shared the story with you with a different purpose, but today I share this story with you with a different aim. The story goes like this. A teacher comes to a class with a crystal vase flowers, golf balls, pebbles, and sand. And he's standing in front of the class. He demonstrates to his students. This vase flowers represent your life. The golf ball represent what are the most important in your life. In this case, it can be your parents, your health, your children, your friends. The pebbles represent your career, your house, your car. If your life, you only have the golf balls, then your life is still fulfilled enough, happy enough, even you don't have anything else. Even you don't have any pebbles or sand. In this case, sands represent electronic gadgets or convenient means. But if you fill up your life with all of these convenient means, with these sands and pebbles, then you have no space for what is important in your life. My message for you today, based on this story, is that my aim is that what is your priority according to this story? My case, my priority is that now as a monk, my priority is that before I start the day to do the Sangha work, I will make sure when I get up in the morning, whether there is a Sangha schedule or no Sangha schedule, I have a session of practice. That is, get up, sit still, or whatever the times allow me. Whether I have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 30 minutes. Sit still, just enjoy the be sitting. Then drink a cup of tea before I have breakfast. But when I live in the Sangha, it's very easy. It's all in the phone, in the schedule. So I have just to follow, to do that. So that is my priority. No matter how busy I am, whether I go out there to do some Sangha work, I will make sure. If I have a schedule to meet, to be somewhere to lead an event, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, sometimes we have to get up very early because of traveling. It takes a couple hours. Sometimes we have to get up 4, 5, even earlier than that. I will make sure that at least I get up, give myself at least 30 minutes to 45 minutes, just to enjoy, to have that my own space. And that is my priority. And I found out that if we start the day slow, then we set the pace for the rest of the day in calm, in peace. But if we start the day running and rushing, which a lot of us do, get up in the morning, there's thousands of things popping up in the mind. What am I going to do next? Who is going to take my children to school? Who is going to make the breakfast? And on and on and on, and pop up. So pop up all of these. When we get up, then the mind started to work. Recognize there are feelings coming up. I just need to sit still and breathe to calm down. If we don't do that, we run. We start running first in the morning, we will run for the rest of the day. So it's very crucial to set your priority. What are your priorities for your life, for your day? And the priority for us can be just a short meditation practice. Sit still for 5 minutes, having a cup of tea, go for a walk, or between when you go to work, in between times, go for a walk. And make sure that we stay consistent with it. Because when we consistent with it, then it becomes a routine. When it becomes a routine already, then it's no longer an effort. At first, we might have to put a little effort into it. Then when it becomes a routine already, then it becomes part of life. There are some people who set up the alarm in the morning, but even the alarm is actually go up, turn it off and continue to sleep. So that's if we go, again, we're talking about the habit energy. You see? So it's actually working with transforming the habit energy. It's actually in our hand. And we can do it. We just need to be committed to the practice. And committed is not enough. It takes consistency. Then let us enjoy oneself the belt. You know that now is the day that in our society, what is more attractive to the resume? You know, all the good quality that you put on your resume is one of the quality is that the capacity or the skill of doing multitasking. And a lot of corporations are looking for that. They want you to switch back and forth, back and forth. We occasionally we have day of mindfulness at Google headquarters in Silicon Valley, California, and we have a chance to visit the campus. You know, in the Google campus, at the workstation, there's a treadmill ride, a computer ride, on top of the treadmill. You sit and then you stand up. The computer is right there. And you treadmill, you just run and you just still playing, working. People who stay on campus, they sleep on campus too. And they provide all the snacks available. You can eat anytime, whatever you like. Anything you need, it's just right there. And they want people to have that multitasking, to be able to switch back and forth, back and forth. You know, as for me now, after many years practicing, I see that multitasking is a myth. And I see that the human brain is only capable to focus on one thing. Meditation practice, we see that you can only focus on one thing at a time. You might have the capacity to switch back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But that is between a back and forth. But the mind cannot stay in two things at the same time. It's just flipping back and forth, back and forth. And the more that we do this, we exhaust ourselves. So multitasking, it can take a lot of energy. The practice in meditation is just do one thing at a time. When you take and focus on one thing at a time, you become so attentive to that thing that you do. And whatever you do, you focus on that, then the quality of work, it becomes enormous. I used to do multitasking on my job. After Plum Village visiting 1 week, I came back and applied the practice. I stayed more focused. And I found out that I made less errors. If I do multitasking, there's a big chance to make errors. And every time I make an error, there's a lot of money, a lot of correction. It took a lot of time and money to correct the errors. But when I really focus and mindful, what I do one thing at a time, maybe the productivity decrease at the beginning, but the quality is enormous. So the practice is do one thing at a time and help us to relax. And we do that, we just take our time. Here in the monastery, work is work. Work is there. You take your time to do it. So during the mindful service, or New Hamlet you still call the house delight. It's an opportunity to practice to do that. Just take your time. Sweeping is sweeping. Take your time. What is more important as we work, we sweep, is to focus about the mind. Pay attention to the mind, how the mind is reacting to the world, what the mind is thinking. And I think that as human beings, we are very fortunate enough that we be able to do what we love, and we love what we do. There's a lot of people out there don't have the conditions, are not fortunate enough to do that. As for me, I reminded myself how fortunate I am to be a monk. I do what I love, and I love what I do. I do what I love. I do what I serve. I share the practices with others. I love what I do, love what I practice. So those two, they intertwine together. So if we work outside, see the depth, the meaning of the work that we do. And if you see that there is passion, there is love into that, then it makes the days more worth it of living or of working. Last but not least is that in our community we really enjoy a moment of doing nothing. A moment of doing nothing sounds very simple, but it's very difficult to do that because we have a tendency to be busy, to do work after work, thought after thought, and so on. Remember, doesn't matter how good your work is, how much benefit you bring to the work that you are being so productive that you offer. Busyness is just restlessness. And restlessness is not good for personal practice. So if we learn how to improve ourselves, quality of life, how to love ourselves, then we need to learn how to relax, how to take care of ourselves. And to pay attention to busyness is just restlessness. Just restlessness. When you find that you're not able to sit still, that your mind is always agitating or wanting to do something, to go somewhere, what that means is that your life is out of balance. That is very clear to me as practitioners. We need to have the capacity to sit still, to stand still, however long that is. And it depends on our level of practice. And if your practice is deep enough, then you slowly increase the duration of stillness. And when we have the capacity to dwell in the present moment, that we're not being carried by the past or worry about the future. In this case, the stress, the fear, the anger, and so on, then we actually reclaim our sovereignty. Sovereignty is that you take the ownership of your life. You take your ownership of your destiny, especially your time. And if you're not able to do that, then we'll be swept away by the habit energy. I now would like to end with you the sharing how to balance energy is how to cultivate the inner peace. As for me, cultivating inner peace is so crucial for my practice. And to cultivate the inner peace, it begins with what? As for me, it begins with the practice of non-violence. Non-violence to myself. And as we know, everything arises from the thought. Speech and action followed by the thought. To be able to practice, to cultivate inner peace, we need to have some blindness, gentleness to our body, to ourselves. And here at Plum Village, we provide a platform, the schedule, the environment where you can actually enjoy and do that. There are feelings and emotions, thought, idea, they're contradicting each other all the times. I'm talking about oneself. We might have a conflict between feelings to another feeling, and that creates a war within ourselves. Isn't it correct? When we have war within ourselves, then we're not at peace. Not alone that we're reacting to others. Every day we have many thoughts and feelings. In the morning, I might have this feeling, but in the afternoon, I might have a different feeling. In the morning, I might like this person. In a few minutes, whatever she does or he does, I might change my mind. Then I have a different feeling. And the early morning, the afternoon feeling is causing conflicts. See, inner peace is how to stay with the feeling. Feeling with thoughts. And when we learn how to harmonize our body, our speech, and our action, then we are at peace. When we know how to at peace with ourselves, then we know how to at peace with others. And this is something very natural. And the practice, yes, it comes down to the bottom line is about us taking refuge in oneself. And to be able to cultivate the inner peace with all of that, we need to have a spiritual dimension. And as I shared at the beginning, when I first came to Plum Village, after 1 week I realized, what I was missing was a spiritual dimension. And what it means to me after all of these years, spirituality is not a religion. It's not superstition. Spirituality is a way for us to get in touch deeply with what is. In this case, get in touch deeply with what is happening inside my body and my mind. And if I learn how to understand myself, then I can learn to understand others as well as outside. So each one of us is very important to have a spiritual dimension, just to get in touch deeply with ourselves and with reality. And to be able to cultivate this inner peace and all this, we need to get acquainted with our mindful breathing and our mindful steps. So everything that we do here, you see, the sister, the brother keep asking us to come back, to anchor, to breathe, to follow your steps, to follow your mindful breathing. These are the tools. And these are the basic fundamental tools that we can use to cultivate, to do all of these. Without these, it's so very difficult. I shared with my younger brother and sister the other day, life sometimes we need form. Just to be able to touch and to feel, form to practice with. In this case, the breath, the steps. But as when you advance in the practice, then it's something has become very natural. Then can you slowly release the form. But don't rush yourself until you know yourself well. That is why we instruct the people, you walk, you can count your steps. You walk, you can use the gather, I have arrived, I am home. Why do we have to coordinate the steps and the breathing as we walk? Because the steps are the measurement of our breath. These are just convenient means. They just means. They just form. It helps us to practice. And if we just practice and we cultivate bit by bit every day, then the energy of mindfulness will increase slowly, and slowly. It took me 17, 18 years to be able to who I am, to sit here with you. If you were to meet me 20 years ago, I was a very different person. And thanks to the practice of mindfulness, to the teaching of the Plum Village, then I could become who I am today. So therefore, I am so grateful for this practice and this tradition, especially our teacher who has opened up the new horizon of the practice to make it so easier for us to practice. Therefore, as a practitioner, we have to make an aspiration. Sometimes we have a good intention to change. But good intention alone doesn't do you good. Good intention, it has to accompany by aspiration. Means that I am aspired to do this. In this case, in a very simple context, things that live Zen, become Zen. Today I'm determined that I will be more mindful. To be mindful, what do I need to do today? Today, I will stop worrying. Today, I will find time to rest, to relax, in order to take good care of my body and mind. Today, I will live in peace and happiness. Last but not least, today, I will open my heart to understand and to love myself better. One thing that this morning on the car while coming to here, one thought that came up that I forgot to put in here, that actually arose in the car while I was coming here, that today I will live slower. Life is very precious. Don't rush yourself. Death is knocking all the time. Just take your time. Take our time to enjoy. Live slower. When we live slower, we can enjoy much more and we can learn much more. So heaven says that. Thank you so much for your deep listening. So I wish that you will stay here for 1 week or however long with all of the basic practices, the platform, the collective energy of the Sangha will help to encourage to support your practice. So please enjoy your stay with us. Thank you for listening.